Beginning on Daf Mesechta Gitin Daf Samach Dal, begin on the bottom of Samach Gimel Beis, 2 lines up at the bottom of the Yamud, where the Gemara continues the theme of this Perik Koimer, regarding the halachas of shlichus, specifically regarding the halach of shliach likabala, regarding when the woman says that her get was received, regarding the believability and regarding knowing that she's divorced. She just corresponds with Kazakh and Cheskel, turn to Daf Achaim. Appreciate him joining today's Daf. So discussing today's Daf are Eidim Sha'amra, regarding witnesses who said, regarding believing them, regarding the halacha that she was divorced, what they have to tell us what was done. And this relates to the credibility of the shlish, the baal, and the isha. The Gemara has an interesting case regarding who do we believe if, let's say, the get is in by the hand of a third party, and the husband's claiming he gave it to him as a deposit, the woman's claiming that it was given to her to him as a shliach to receive it for divorce. So the question is, who do we believe from all these three parties regarding what the get is doing there by the hand of the third party? And Chazak Shlich Shlichus is the halacha that we presume that the agent did his agency and what was done, and we can presume that therefore it was executed. Halacha B'Katana regarding a minor, regarding her making a shlich likabala, where she does not have the halacha of shlichus. Nair Merasa, the next Mishnah continues regarding that interesting. Nair Merasa is like somewhere in the middle, that she is a gedola because she's over 12, but since she's under 12 and a half, her father actually has a yad beha. So the question is, how do we define that status of the Nair Merasa? Do we view it as the father and not her, or both of them have a yad? Halacha b'chei lishmer is gita, regarding when could you divorce a woman if she's understanding enough that she knows how to protect her get. Also, mishalacha ve'in mechazeres, that if she basically sends her away, she doesn't come back, is a criterion also regarding a get. And halacha of katna katana in general and specific regarding the halachas of kinyan, and here regarding that of the laws of Gitin. So begin the card Daf on the bottom of Gimel Beis, 2 lines up at the bottom of the Yamid, says the Mishnah, again continuing the theme of shlich likabala, ha'isha sha'amra, a woman that said, hiskabeli giti, she says, receive for me my get. Now, the shliach comes back and he says, I received it. So you're divorced. Says the Mishnah, tzricha, the woman has to bring in front of us, shnei kidei 2 sets of witnesses. Why? What's going on over here? Shnayim sha'im, there's 2 that have to say, b'fanenu amra. In front of us, she said to him to receive the get, meaning that she made him into a shliach. So you need 1 pair of witnesses to say that he's a shliach. And then the shnayim sha'im b'fanenu kibul b'kera. Then you need 2 witnesses who will say in front of us that he received it, and then he ripped it up. The Gemara is going to ask, why is he ripping it up? But he's ripping it up. But we need it, so we don't see it now anymore. So we need witnesses who verify that he got it and it was torn up. And says the Mishnah, whether the 2 that are telling us that she had told him to be shliach in front of us, they're the ones who saw that he received it. It could be the same 2. Could be the same 2 for the last at the end also. Or as the Mishnah continues, or you can have 1 from the first group and 1 from the second group. The echad, and then you have a third person who he's a witness by both. He combine with them. So in other words, we don't care. It's not too contradictory. It's not too exclusive testimonies. It could be the same pair of witnesses. It could be 1 guy that's by both, and then by both you have a different person. But be that as it may, you need 2 sets of witnesses for us to know that this woman is divorced. 1 that she made him a shliach, and then another pair of witnesses that saw that he received it and then he tore it up. Now, relating back to the halacha of the Mishnah, the Gemara brings the following teaching. Itma, we learned. A get that's placed in the hands of what's called a shlish, in a third party. Now, there's a dispute over here. The husband says, I gave it to you as a deposit to watch for me. I don't want to get hanging around my house. My wife might be doing some cleanup, and then before I know it, she finds, what's this? So that's what I gave it to you for, to hold on to this. The third party says, that's not true. You gave it to me for the purposes of divorce. I was her shliach likabala, and she became divorced when I received it from you. And as Rashi tells us, the husband and the wife are both in the same city, as important for the case as the Gemara is going to explain. Question is, Minemen, who believed? He's holding the get. He's saying, you gave it to me. She's divorced because I received it for her. And he says, not true. I gave it to you just to hold on to. So it's machlekes. Rav Huna, he says, Baal Neman. The husband's believed, and she's not divorced. Rav Chizda says, no, Shlish Neman. The third party's believed, and she's divorced. So the Gemara explains the machlekes. Rav Huna about them, and he says the husband is believed. Why? Because there's a svar over here. This logic. If it was true that he was giving it to the third party to divorce her, he would have given it directly to her. Like that's what Rashi said. They're in the same city. What? Because he's claiming that he's her shliach likabala. He's claiming that you gave it to me because I'm an agent for her. And he's like, not true. I gave it to you just to hold on to. And the Gemara says the svar of Huna is because if he was trying to divorce her, she's in the same city. Why would he give it to some third party and not to her? Obviously he could, but the logic goes with the husband that it's true what he's saying, that he made him only into a custodian, but not to have a divorce. For Chizdam Shlishnem, and he says, no, the third parties believe. What? That Adam, that she made him, and so why do we believe him according to Rav Huna? Right. Meaning even though that she made him a shliach l'kabbalah, but I wasn't given to you for that. Right. I was giving it to you only for the purposes of being just as a pekad. And Rav Chizdam, he says, no, Shlishnem and the third parties believed. Because he believed him. Yeah, he says there's arichas here in the Rishonim and all these things, but Rashi says simply because you gave it over to him, obviously believe him. So if he's saying that I was doing it for the purposes of divorce, I was shliach l'kabbalah, then you're relying on me, and then I'm saying this, and therefore you believe me, and therefore she's going to be divorced. That's the machlekes between Rav Huna and Rav Chizdam. Now, most of Rabbi asks on Rav Huna, who he says that the husband is believed from the following brisa. The brisa says, "Haidoras baldin," well-known Talmudic dictum, the admission of the defendant is kamei edim dami. It's like 100 witnesses. We could incriminate him if he's admitting himself. It's like 100 witnesses are saying this idea. V'shalish ne'eman mishneim, and the third party is believed from both of them. What does that mean? Ketzad. So the brisa explains. What happens if this one's saying this way, let's say the husband, and this one's saying this way, let's say the wife. Shalish Naman, the third party is believed. So wait a second. You see that we believe the Shalish, which is like Rav Chizda, not like Rav Huna, who said that we believe the husband. Says the Gemara, no, that price is different. Shani Mammon, because that's to a monetary case. Money is different. This Yohiv Lemechila, because that's something that you could pardon. If a person's Michael, it's going to be considered forgiven. So therefore, we believe the third party. Why? Because there, the svara of nemanis is very important. Because you trusted this third party, you gave it over to him. So you were willing with the guarantee for that to be that you'll be Michael on your money and you'll believe whatever he's going to say because you believe him. You're trusting him. But when it comes to something regarding prohibitory law, Rashi's words are "Ein b'yodei lahamin." But it's not like you could believe him after you deposited by him. In other words, if let's say you gave it to him as a deposit, so you're trusting him, so you're letting him call the shots. But if you gave it to him as a deposit and he later lies and comes along and says, "No, you gave it to me as a get," you can't say that. Okay, I entrusted you. You could choose to do whatever you want to do. Halachically, that's not the case. You didn't do it, but nasam b'yada. You gave it to him as a bekadin, and therefore, says Rav Huna, this brisa that we believe the third party is only by monetary thing. Monetary things is, look, you trusted him. He's going to say. You knew that he could say whatever he wants to say, and you're believing him. So he could say whatever he wants to say, and halacha will agree to him. But that's for monetary law. He could be moichel money. But by Isser, you can't be moichel Isser. Taisus has a discussion regarding Rav Chizda that, Rav Chizda says something actually interesting, that just that he believes him was, even if he gave it over not for Gerish, and if he says for Gerish, and even though he's lying, it's like that's what you originally gave it for. So that would be the lumdus in Rav Chizda, because you believe him and you know he can say whatever he wants, and therefore you knew that and that was your intention. But for Rav Huna, he says not difficult because Isser is definitely different than Mammon. Right. Anytime you have when what? No.
No, she either got divorced on the right time, or he never gave it and she's not divorced.
Right, that would be also right. If you're saying that divorce, he's saying the divorce happened right away when the get was given, so then it's not yashin. She was already divorced whenever it is that that the get was given and was given to the shliach. But then the Gemara says, how can you say v'tanya v'chein legitin? But the Brisa says that it's not only by monetary case, also for Gitin that we believe the third party, which like Rav Chizan al Rav Huna. Says the Gemara, no, Gitin doesn't only mean Gitin of divorce, it's Gitei Mammon. The word get actually is translated as shtar. We generally use it as just for Gitei Noshim, but it's a monetary document. I says the Gemara Vatanya when the Brisa v'chein l'shtaris. It's only for documents, so you can't say Gitin means shtaris because you have the word shtaris. So the Gemara says, yeah, but midigabe doditanya. You think that these two brises of v'chein l'gitin v'chein l'shtaris were all written in the same brisa to say that from the fact that shtaris means mammon, so the first one must mean Gitei Noshim? No, these are two different tanoim. They were both talking about by mammon, just one used the terminology of Gitin, one used the terminology of shtar. It's not the same brisa. If it would have been, then it obviously would be inferred. So it's not difficult in Rav Huna. He could still say that for mammon, we will believe the shalosh because you believe him, but by Isser, he doesn't hold that Svar Taisa says for Rav Chizda that he's agreeing that if the shalosh would claim, then he indeed giving it for divorce. No, not necessarily, and therefore it's not difficult in Rav Huna. But now the Gemara asks on both of them. Tanan, we learned in the Mishnah, Ha'isha, in our Mishnah we said, Ha'isha sha'am, this way relates back to halach of our Mishnah. Ha'isha sha'amra, our Mishnah said, he's giti, receive from me my get. And he receives it, he comes back and says, look, I got a few. So the Mishnah said like this, so she needs to have two pairs of witnesses. Shnayim sheyomru b'faneinu amra, two that say that in front of us, she said that, hey, you go receive from me. And Shnayim sheyomru b'faneinu kibel b'kira. And in front of us, you have to have two witnesses that say, in front of us, he received it and tore it up.
It has to be in shas again, or it has to be on the get itself.
A what? So there's two sets of. There's one that say that we saw she tell him to be the shleich Kabbalah, and there's another pair of witnesses that have to say we saw him get the get from the husband and then tearing it up. So that's what the Mishnah says. We're going to discuss in a second why would they even tear it up in the first place. But first the Gemara says, why do you need witnesses at all? Not by the receiving and not by the saying, rather, lehamne l'shalish. You should believe the third party by just saying he should be believed because the husband trusts him and that according to everyone, then the third party is believed. If the husband is giving it to him for the purposes of being a get, so why is the Mishnah saying that we need to have edis that A, when she told him to be the shlich, and B, when he got it and then he tore it up? But if the husband is believing him and she's believing him, so why do you need edis at all? You told me you always believe the third party. I think the word over there is because of his claim that he's claiming that he didn't give it for that purpose. But here the husband's not claiming that he didn't give it for that purpose. It's only because he's coming to claim otherwise. So then he's coming to claim otherwise, we'll believe him. But if he's not, like Rashi says, the husband believes him. The husband believes him. So why do we need any testimony? Like Taisa says, why do you need two people to say, "B'fneinu kibul"? Why would you need to have any? Why would you have any edus on that? What? Everyone believes him. Right. Exactly.
There's no more get.
Right. Exactly. But we believe a third party. And
if he has the get, then we believe him.
Right. But we could believe him that he did because it was biyadai. So the Gemara is going to answer stuff like that. The Gemara says, "Mikonofe gita mituse yodei." Do you think the get is being produced by him in front of us to show us that we should believe him, like a shlich Kabbalah? But he tore it up. Now Rashi points out, even though the torn pieces are in his hand in front of us, this shalish, this third party, is only believed only if what he was entrusted with is in his hand. Why? Why would only then he be believed? That's called a migui. Because if he wanted to, so he could have done what he said, so he's believed in what he's saying. But when the get is torn, then it's not in his hand to give it to her because it's torn. So therefore, the Gemara is saying the reason why we need to have Adim on this transaction is because, yeah, we would believe him, but he doesn't have anything for us to believe him with. And the reason why we usually believe in third party is because he could do whatever he wants to. You entrusted him, now you could, but you can't do anything now because it's torn. So therefore, that's why you need to have the Edis. So the Gemara says, wait a second. Teinach Amra. I understand that you need to have the witnesses who says that we saw her tell him that she made him a shliach. But kibalamali, why do you need to have witnesses who saw him receive it from the husband, but it's in his hand in front of us? Most definitely he received it from him. So why would you need to have Adim on that? So that the gear says either Amarava or Amarava, Hamani, who is the Tana, it's Rebbe Lazahi. So the Gemara is going through showing us why we need to have witnesses on every one of these points, because the Amar, he says, Adim Mesira Karti. He says that the get is only kosher with Adim Mesira. So you always need to have witnesses on the handover. So that's why you need to have witnesses on that he received it from her. Okay, but then the question is the third point, Karalamali. In other words, why is he even tearing it? You have to have witnesses that he tore it as if like it has to be torn. Why would it even be torn? So maybe the Merav, he says, because B'shas Gzeira Shanu. We're talking about at the time of the decree of the government that they said they're not allowed to perform mitzvahs, and therefore during the times of persecution it was dangerous to hold on to a valid get. So therefore, we need witness to say, yes, we saw him get it, but then he tore it because you're not allowed to hold on to it. So that's the reason why we said that you need to have these two pairs of witnesses. First, B'fanenu Amra, because you're right, we would believe the third party. But as Rashi explains, only believe when he's in possession of the get because of this migui. Now that he doesn't have it, we need to have witnesses that she had made him into a shliach. And then you have to have two pairs of witnesses. B'fanenu Kibul B'kira is that even if he has the torn get in his possession, we still require Edom, because our Mishnah follows Rabbi Lazo holds Edom Mesiri Kartim. Why is he tearing it? Because of the time of the Gezerah. Now, going back to what we mentioned before, Amar Rabba says a Moider Rav Huna agrees, meaning that he had said that the third party is not believed, we believe the husband. He agrees, the Amra Ihi. If the woman says, Lididi Amali Shalish, a very interesting halach, it says that if she says that the third party said to me, that the husband had given it to him for divorce, mehemna, then we do believe the third party. Although Rav Huna said that when the husband is saying, I gave it to you as bukad, and the shliach said, no, you give it to me as divorce, he said, we believe the husband. If the woman claims that the third party told her that the husband had given her for divorce, then he's believed. So the Gemara wonders, how's that possible? Is there such a thing? You told me that when the husband disputes the third party is not believed. Now, when she says in his name, suddenly he's believed. How does that make it better? Or rather, says the Gemara, no, if she says, Kamoi Didi, in front of me, it was given to him as divorce, mehemna, then she's believed. Because migui di ibaya amr, because now there's a migui. If she wanted, she could have said, Ledida yahabana le baal, that the husband gave it to her, she could have said that, and the woman is believed to say, Gerashtan, that you divorced me. So since she could have said that, and she'd be believed, she's believed to say that, no, you gave it to this guy, but you gave it to him as divorce, and therefore, he's going to believe in that case that it was given to him as divorce. What? No, this is not the torn one. This is just in general. That is a get that's by this third party, and she's saying that he was given to him. I saw him give it to him for me as divorce, and Migu, she could have said it was given to me. If the husband's saying yes, if she, well, first of all, here also you have the get itself. Here also you have the get. Here you have the get itself also, but generally the woman is believed to say Gerashtani, that you divorced me. She wouldn't be made as paneha b'fnei bala. So therefore, yeah. So since she would be believed, so therefore she's believed also to say that, oh, She gave it to him, but it was given to him for the purpose of the gerushin. Now, a later discussion, the Gemara says, Ba'alam al gerushin. What happens if the husband says, I gave it to the third party to give it to her for gerushin? And v'shlisham al gerushin. The third party also says it was given to me as for divorce purposes. The Yomi, she says, and nosan livavad. Yes, it was given to me and it was lost. So it's so interesting. If you read this case, you would think to say this is a slam dunk. This is straight up. Everyone's saying it was given for divorce. No. Amar B'Yechanan says Havadav shebe'erva. This is a halacha relating to arayis because we're talking about a married woman. And davar shebe'erva cannot be less than two people. So until we have two witnesses, this is not going to be considered as a get. The Gemara says, "V'mai? Why? Question number one: why don't you believe the third party?" Says the Gemara, "Mika nafik gitin metusa yada dilahemne." Like the svar we said before, he's not holding on to the guess not by him right now that we should believe him. The only reason why I believe the third party is because of a migui. You trusted me; I could do with this whatever I want to. So if I'm saying this, then believe me. But he doesn't have the get by him. It was already given to her. She then said she lost it. But he's saying, I had given it to her. But you can't believe him because he doesn't have the get right now. So you must say, okay, well, believe the husband. The husband is saying that he gave it to the shliach for gerushin. The husband says, I divorced my wife. He's believed. Because like Rashi says, the svara of mali l'shaka, why should he lie? It's biyad l'garsha. He could divorce her with another get. So if he says, I divorced her, we believe him. So why here, if he's saying he gave it as a get, why don't we believe him? Says the Gemara, is he saying I divorced her? No, he's just saying he made a shliach le'elacha. So he made a shliach le'elacha. So the Gemara asks the following question: since the husband is believed to say that he appointed this guy to deliver to his wife to divorce her, so why don't you say chazaka shlichusai? We have a presumption that the agent does his agency, and if you're saying I made this guy into a shliach le'elacha, so why don't we presume that she's divorced? Says, if someone says to his agent, since the guy says, look, I don't know women so well, you know women, so you go ahead, do me a favor, get me engaged to some woman. I'm too busy learning, I don't know what this is. So he sends out the guy, and then on his travels, finding him the woman of his dreams, the guy dies. Now this guy's going to be forbidden all the women in the whole world. Why? So like Rashi explains, because this woman that he now finds on the shidduch date 2 years later might be the relative of his kala, who his agent was makadosh for him. Only if the shliach comes back and he tells him, look, Mary Jane was this woman I got you engaged to, or I didn't get you engaged to anyone, then he'll know that, okay, whoever's related to this woman or he wasn't engaged at all, then he'll be permitted to tell the woman. Until that, every woman in the world might be a relative of the woman that he was engaged to. Why? Because we have to presume that you sent this guy to get you engaged. We presume he got you engaged to someone. Now on the way back, it was a car accident and he died. Okay, you're engaged to someone, you don't know who. You're forbidden to every woman in the world. Okay, but the main thing we're asking is that, how does it work over here? If you say chazaka shlichus, so why don't we say that she's divorced simply because the husband's saying, I mean, mishlich la'locha. Says the Gitin Daf, says the Gemara, yeah, bahani mid l'chumra. When did we say this halacha of chazaka shlichus is a stringency like the halacha of Rabbi Yitzchak, like this guy can't marry any woman anymore? We don't say the chazaka is so strong as a leniency to say that this woman is divorced. That's a leniency. We're going to require another get. But therefore, this is not going to be a get based on what the husband's saying, because all he knows is he made a shliach le'elacha, and we don't know that he actually executed that shlichus. They must say, okay, but why don't you believe her? From Rav Nuna's teaching, he says, the woman that says to her husband, you divorced me, she's believed because chazaka in the isham is a paneh b'fnei ba'ala. We have a presumption the woman would not have the audacity, the brazenness, in front of us to say, yeah, you divorced me. I divorced you? What, are you out of your mind? What are you talking about? She would never say such a thing. If she's saying it, she must be believed. So that itself should be believed. Says the Gemara, when did we say a woman would not have the audacity? Is if no one's assisting her on her own, a woman wouldn't stand up to her husband and say such a thing. But when people are assisting her, so she gets the confidence, most definitely she would be brazen and say, yeah, you divorced me. And she supported and she has this sharkite. Oh, so here where everyone is saying that she was divorced, so she has the confidence to say it. But really, we don't really believe her. It's only because of the of the chazaka, and here you don't have a chazaka when other people are supporting her. So therefore, fascinating case. Everyone is saying she was divorced, and it's not going to be considered divorce, and you have to require two eidim. Like we said, we don't believe him, the husband, because he didn't say I divorced her. He just said I made a shliach. I chazak shliach said only lechumah, not lekula. I, the shliach himself, says he gave a divorce. But we don't believe him either because Mika nafik gitin metuziyah. He doesn't have to get in his head. Doesn't have the Mika. And she's saying I got it as divorce. Says yeah, but you only believe because you say there's a chazaka that you wouldn't be me'iza. We don't have that when you support it. So therefore, although everyone is saying it was for divorce and everyone's on board, it's not going to be considered as a divorce until you have two witnesses. Now we continue halacha, the next Mishnah. Continue on this halacha of shlich likabala about an agent to receive the get. So nara hamayrasa. Nara hamirasa is a betrothed maiden. The naira is the age between 12 and 12 and a half who is engaged. And the thing is that she's an adult. At the same time, she's still in her father's domain for certain things. Says the Mishnah, hiva via her and her father, meaning either her or her father, mekablas gita, they could receive her get. Her, because she's an adult, she has her own yad, so she can receive her own get. Her father also has the rights in his daughter, and therefore he can receive the get too. Now, however, that doesn't affect her own yad, because Maisa, she's an adult. If she'd be an orphan girl, she would be able to get herself engaged, and she would receive her own get. Now, also, says the Tanakama, there's no difference. She's an adult, she can receive it. But the father also could go ahead and receive it, because Maisa, he has rights in his daughter, the Na'ara. On that, Rabbi Yehuda, he disagrees. He says, no, you can't have two hands meriting together as one. Who's in charge over here? Who's the recipient? And then the secondary. It's only the father who can receive the get, and she cannot, because the father is in control of her rights now. Moreover, says the Mishnah, and if the girl can't even protect her get, because she's not as intelligent, then she can't even be divorced at all, as the Gemara will explain the svara for that. But the Gemara says, what is this machlekes in our Mishnah between the Tanakama and Rabbi Yehuda if both of them have a yad or only the father? So the Gemara explains. Rabbanan Savri, the Rabbanan, the Tanakama held Yada Yisei Rasa Zachel Rachmana. Meaning she's an adult, she's over 12 years old, she's over Bas Mitzvah. This that the Torah gives the rights to the father is an extra hand. Meaning she could get divorced or the father could get divorced. No, in the place of her father, Yadi lo lav klumi. Her hand is insignificant because the Torah totally gave over her rights to the father all the days that she is a nara, unless when she gets married, then she's totally removed from her father's domain. But up until then, it's only the father who can receive it and not her. Now the Mishnah said, if she cannot go ahead and protect her get, then she cannot be divorced. So talking about learn the brisa that elaborates and explains Kitana hayedas lishmer zgita. If you have a young girl that knows how to protect her get, she realized that this document is her emancipation, this is her ticket to get remarried. So if she can protect the miskaresha, she can get divorced. But if she does not know how to protect her get, in miskaresha, she's not divorced. Why? Because the pasuk says that he sends her out of his house, which is someone who gets sent away and doesn't come back. That excludes this case where the girl gets sent away, but she comes back. That's how the Gemara expounds in Masechtas Yevamos and Daf Gimel Mabeis. So therefore, even if her father would accept the get, she would not be divorced. And says the Gemara, says the Brayse, ve'ezi ketani yidas lishmas gita. What is a young girl who knows how to protect her get? Meaning she knows that she's divorced and she has to watch her get, and she's out of the house. She's not coming back in the next day. Is straying back in. It's called shebshemeres gita b'dava acher. Any girl who knows how to protect her get and something else, that means that she understands, she has the intelligence to be divorced. So what does that mean that she knows how to protect her get and something else? So then he says, this is what it means. Kol shebshemeres davar acher machmas gita. It's where she knows how to protect something else because of her get. Meaning, if she loses her get, so then she protects something else that's not similar, thinking that it is her get. So says the Gemara, what? So that's totally deranged. And there's no greater sending and coming back more than such a girl. And the fact that you didn't say that she protects another star, The inference is it's not even a star, it's like a teddy bear, whatever it is, which is not even similar at all. How could you say that's the halacha mishameres dava achar v'gita, that, oh, when she loses the get, she holds on to something else, like she realizes something important of the get, but that's a shaita ba'alma. How could you say that's intelligent enough to realize that she's divorced? It doesn't even say the words that she protects another star in place of her get. If you had another star, I could understand. She's somewhat intelligent. She realizes that you need a document. Maybe she'll hold on to the receipt of the get, like thinking, oh, that'll do something. So how can you say just holding on to something else would be considered as a sign of intelligence that she's divorced?
If the point is that knows that she got divorced, she lost the get, holds on to something else, meaning she knows that she's divorced and she doesn't come back.
Right.
She got divorced. She become undivorced, but she lost it.
Even more.
But she still holds on to the fact that she's divorced.
Even more. Doesn't the Baal can just be garish on kocho?
Yeah, but that's what Rashi says. It has to be b'shulchan mebeisa. I mean, b'shulchan mebeisa. Even if you could do balkarcha, but you need to be able to fulfill that she's sent away from the house. She doesn't have intelligence to realize that she's out, and she comes back in. Right. So that's what he's asking. He wants to understand how are they qualifying that the stage of b'shulchan mebeisa, of leaving and not coming back, is dependent on understanding that this is her get, and why if she holds a teddy. Right, no, because it seems like that what they're saying is that if she doesn't understand that this is a get to protect, she's also not the intelligence to know that she can't come back home. She's going to walk back in 2 days later, so you didn't do anything. You didn't do a shilcha mebeisa. That's what it sounds like that for some reason, that if she doesn't understand that there's a get, yeah, I hear the question, that why would that be dependent on the actual understanding of the get itself? Why don't you just say that, hey, who cares, whatever she identifies with, a teddy bear, whatever, but she realizes she's not that she's divorced. It seems like that would mean that she doesn't really understand. She doesn't know what's really going on, unless she at least identifies somewhat something similar to the get itself. Maybe she thinks the husband just upsetted her, like she doesn't really know. But al kapanim, it definitely cannot be just something else. So he says, no, it means kol shemavchenes ben gidol davach. It means that if she's able to differentiate between her get and something else, when she's able to differentiate, she understands, oh, there must be something that's serious over here, and there must be something definitive, and then she's b'shulchan mebeisa, then she's sent out, then she's not going to come back. Now, regarding the actual kinyan of a cotton itself, which is what we're discussing over here regarding a young girl being divorced, so Rabbi Yehuda Amar Rabasi says that if you have a child, that you give him a tzror, give him a pebble, a stone, and he throws it away, because who needs a pebble? But when you give him an egoiz, a nut, and he takes it, okay, some intelligence over here. He realizes the difference between a nut and a stone. You have a little baby, they pick up everything, marbles and whatever it is, and fruity pebbles, it's all the same to them, right? They're old enough to realize one thing is a rock and one thing is a nut, then the child could merit for himself. But we don't have enough, it's not enough intelligence, meaning if someone else was being mazakat to someone else, something through a child, which is he gives the object over to the child and he says, here, Shloimeh, pick up this object for that person's not going to be zeicha. And therefore, if the giver comes to back out, he could back out. But if you give it to the child would be zeicha, because he's not considered mature enough to be zeicha for other people. But let's say chayfetz, let's say he gives him an object, and he gives it back to him at a later time, meaning when he says, okay, now, Shmuel, give me back my toy that I gave you, and the kid gives it back to him, so that's already intelligent understanding that's not mine, because I had it for the last 2 minutes. So Zeicha, then he can merit bein la'atzmei, bein la'chem, whether for himself or whether for others. Where, as Rashi points out, that's from rabbinic law, because obviously a cotton is not really having any biblical acquisitions. Now, however, when they said it in front of Shmuel, Amali, he said to me, Davada, this one and this one, meaning these two takanas, achasi, they're the same, meaning they have the same halacha. Says Gemara, my Davada achasi, what does it mean that they both have the same halacha Meaning, are you saying that both of them, the child would be able to be Zeicha, or both of them, he would not be able to be Zeicha? So Rav Chizdi says, Echad Zeh ve'Echad Zeh, both of them, Zeicha la'atzmai ve'ein Zeicha la'achem, meaning, whether he's old enough to understand what's a stone to throw it away and the nut to eat it, or even if he's the maturity of understanding that, hey, this is your toy, I'm going to give it back to you at a later point in time, he could only be Zeicha for himself, rabbinically, but he cannot be Zeicha for others. On that, Master Rav Chinda Vardan, which was, he was from the people of Vardanya, which is the name of a place, and there they call him Chanina Vardan. He asked from a Mishnah Masechtas Eruvin. Mishnah says, Ketzad mishtatfen b'mavai. How do you make a joint alleyway that all the courtyards are able to carry out into the mavai, so they could carry, because it's considered a distinct area, which rabbinically is forbidden? How do you join together in the mavai? So the halach is, says the Mishnah in Eruvin, Manichas achavas. What you do is, you place the barrel, which the wine inside of it is considered like a partnership, because generally the shituf, the joint, was done with wine. Vayman, he says like this, whoever wants to make the Erev says like this, he says, he says, this wine inside of here is for all the people in the alleyway. And he can merit to them, meaning really what you have to do is you have to collect from every single person. That's very tedious and laborious, so what you do is you donate the barrel of wine, and you merit it to them, like they know you beat, meaning it has to obviously change from your possession to them. Can't do it from your right hand to your left hand. Mizaka to them through either your adult sons and daughters, or through his Jewish slave or slave women. Now, says the Gemara, wait a second. There's a technicality over here. This Jewish slave woman that he has, what's her status? If she brought 2 pubic hairs, so she's an adult. So my boy Gabe, what's she doing by him? We all know the halacha in Parash Mishpatim that once you develop 2 pubic hairs, she's already out. She goes free as the Amma Avriya. Tell Allah, brother, obviously, she didn't bring 2 hairs yet. Wait a second. So she's a katana. And the katani, what are we learning? Zeichel achem. That she can be zeichel for others. Well, that refutes the halacha that you just said, that no, until you're an adult, you could be zeichel atzma, but not zeichel achem. Here we have the Amma Avriya that must be katana, and still we see that she's zeichel achem through the by the Erev. So the Gemara says, okay, shani shetuvim mavayis drabanan. Don't bring me a raya from the case of the joint mavai, because that's the rabbinic halacha, because biblically there's no issur to carry into an alleyway. It's only from Rishus Yachad to Rishus Rabbim. We don't say that by a Carmelist. And therefore, by rabbinic law, that's where we're lenient and we say we let it be done by the Amma Avriya. But generally, right, we wouldn't say that you could go ahead and have the kinyan from a katana. On that, Rav Chizdi says, Ishtik Vardan. Vardan was quiet, meaning he didn't respond regarding the answer to this question. So he must have said, what was the problem? Well, isn't that a good answer? Why should he have responded? So the Gemara says, called the Takan Rabban, he should have responded whatever the Rabban instituted, as you can tell from Samachem at Aleph, Ke'en Deiraisa Takan, like the biblical halacha they instituted. And therefore, if the biblical halacha is that you tell me that we're not going to be able to have a kinyan from a person that is not bas mitzvah, then the same thing should have been regarding the biblical halacha of the shitufim avos. Says so what actually did Reb Chanina hold? He says, Ki Amrina called the Takan Rabban the Kinder Rais Takan. When did we say this halacha that whatever the Rabbanan did, they did like the biblical halacha? As Bamilsa, the Isla Ikam and Torah. It's specific by something that has a primary source from the Torah, and then the Rabbanan went and made a fence around it, they added on rabbinic halacha. That's what we say it's Kinder Rais Takan. But something that does not have a biblical source at all, then we don't say that at all, because there's no Isser here, even at all, Minat Torah, and we're not adding on to anything, and therefore, that's why we say that yes, we could have the Amma Avriya go ahead and do it, even though we say that we don't give her a kinyan. Here, by rabbinic halacha, we say that we do give her a kinyan. Thank you to any time. Post us.